Hey guys, it's Terry from The Statement Show. Hey, you want a free audiobook? I'm going to tell you how to do it, okay? You go to thestatementshow.com, click on the Audible link, choose from over 180,000 titles. Zach, 180,000 titles. Now, I know you love some audible.com, right?
Absolutely. Recently, I've gotten another Adam Carolla book. I get them out of sequence, so I think this is the first one he did, but it's called In 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks. And it's basically him just going through his whole life, but he narrates it and kind of does a lot of off-the-cuff stuff, and so you're getting a lot more than what's in the book. So, because he likes to just kind of put his own little spin on it, but I'm going to tell you what, I wouldn't do it any other way. It's fantastic for long car rides and for commuters.
Yeah, and anywhere. You can listen anywhere. You know, listen to your books wherever you are. You've got a free app at home, in the car, at the gym, whatever. Look, man, you got 30 days of membership for free. Plus, guess what? You get a book on us to get it started absolutely free. I don't know how much better it could get, to be honest with you. Easy exchange. Just look,
no risk.
Sure, you don't love the book, swap it for free anytime. It's such a great deal. Again, go to thestatementshow.com, click on the affiliates link. You're going to see it sitting right there. Audible.com, click on it, go to it right then and there. Right now, stop what you're doing. Go to thestatementshow.com. Click on the affiliates link, click on audible.com, get yourself a free audiobook. You're going to love it. They got A-list celebrities narrating their favorite stories. Again, 180,000 titles. We're talking about Grammy award-winning audiobooks here. Again, try it for free. 30 days, you still get to keep the audiobook. You don't like it, cancel it out afterwards, but you can't say The Statement Show didn't give you anything in the process.
Thestatementshow.com, the affiliate link, and click Audible. Enjoy the book.
Hey, this is Jenna Von Oy from Blossom and the Parkers. And you know what? You don't even have to buy my book, Situation Momedy, a very special episode in Toddlerdom. I mean, really, my kids don't need to go to college, right? But please, at the very least, listen to this, The Statement Show with Zach and Terry.
From the Night Shift Crew Studios in the DC metro area, this is The Statement Show. The lights are on.
Hey guys, this is Rebecca Gregory.
Hi, this is Krista Joyas.
I'm Jim Harold from the Paranormal Podcast.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle.
Hi, this is Zach Ward.
Hi, this is Lillian Garcia from the WWE.
Hello, everybody. It's Tony Todd.
Howdy, y'all. This is Michael Hawk, Green Beret combat veteran and TV personality. You're listening to The Statement Show with Zach and Terry, so get ready to make a statement.
Welcome back to The Statement Show. I'm Terry James.
And I'm Zach Chahy, and we are the podcast that fits in no category.
Tonight's guest is Jenna Von Oy, best known for her roles as Six on Blossom and Stevie on the Parkers. Jenna is the author of Situation Momedy, a first-time mom's guide to laughing your way through pregnancy in year one, and her most recent book, Situation Momedy, a very special episode in Toddlerdom. Jenna, welcome to The Statement Show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And I'm going to tell you, the words momedy and toddlerdom are, that's tough for me. I thought I was going to mess that up.
Yeah, we spent 20 minutes before the show with him just practicing the whole toddler.
Yeah. I sat there
here I am. I'm not even saying it, and I can't even say it.
I literally sat here, Jenna, like toddlerdom.
I find you do a bunch of like Sally sells, she sells by the seashore in advance of it, or how much wood can a woodchuck chuck? If you do that right beforehand, it's so much easier.
I felt like I was going Ron Burgundy, unique New York, unique New.
You could put an E at the end of it, be Toddler Dome, and then
Toddler.
Right.
Sounds like Fight Club with
difficult for people, honestly. So yeah, I try to fit in as many ridiculous words as I can in the titles of books.
I do love it though. I mean, because that's really absolutely nothing you've ever heard before. Momedy and toddlerdom, I've never heard before. That's awesome. I love it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, Situation Momedy ended up being basically the name of the series, and then of course each book has its own subtitle, and in this case, it's the toddlerdom. But I don't know that everybody realizes this, but a very special episode in Toddlerdom portion is kind of me poking fun at the fact that when I was on Blossom, NBC created the whole on a very special episode of tonight's Blossom. So we actually kind of coined that phrase. And so I thought, well, at the very least, I can have fun at it in the title of my book.
Well, judging by your Twitter feed, it looks like the book tour has kept you pretty busy. That seems like that's going well.
It is. I'm very excited. I'm sort of right smack dab in the middle of it. I've been to the West Coast and then I did some dates. I actually live in Nashville with my family. And so I did a couple of fun book tour dates here and got to give a dose of my sarcasm to my friends who already are way, way too familiar with it. And then next I'm on the East Coast and I get to do the Today Show and all kinds of fun stuff. So it's been a fun lineup.
The Today Show, and
yes.
come on, that's nothing in comparison to where you're at right now.
This is what I'm saying. I'm on the Statement Show. So
you see what I'm saying?
What is the Today Show?
I've never heard of it. I mean, whatever. Right. Well, so I'm glad you actually brought that up because Nashville, you're living in Nashville now. I'm going to be honest. I was there one time, fell in love with the area. We went to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, obviously, to Dollywood and all that. But then we went to Nashville. I completely fell in love with Nashville. It's one of the few places. I'm going to tell you a quick story. So I was at a stoplight, right? Although this was before GPSs and all this. Was probably 20 years ago. Okay. And we were sitting at a stoplight and we were, it was red. We're just minding our business, but we had a map out. That's how long ago this was. We had a map out and somebody came up and pecked on our window and asked us if we were lost.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, kinda. They actually told us no, that anywhere else. And we're from the DC area, so that would never, ever happen.
No.
If they knocked on your window, you want to hit the gas and drive.
Exactly. If somebody taps on your window, that's like the scariest thing that you've ever experienced. Yeah.
Correct.
You know what? That's part of the reason I fell in love with Nashville too. Everyone is very hospitable, and really I've been here for 10 years already, which is hard for me to believe. But after I grew up on the East Coast, but then after living in Los Angeles for 17 years doing my shows, I was kind of ready to get out of that very strange mudslide, narcissistic ridden bubble that I was living in out there. And I came back to Nashville a lot over the course of actually my time doing the Parkers. On all of my hiatus weeks, I would come back here to Nashville and work on music and write with a lot of the really amazing co-writers out here in the country music industry. Don't get me wrong, I don't do country music per se, but I would write with them. And I completely became enamored with this town because of that kind of hospitality, because of the fact that people actually stop at stop signs and wave you head first and say hello whether they know you or not. And I really just fell in love with that part of this town and thought, at some point when it's feasible, I'm going to move there. And I followed through with it.
Mm-hmm. Don't they have some big type of concert out there every year where it's like every portion of the town has something going on?
The CMA Music Festival is out here downtown every year, and that is a sight to behold. Yes, with the country music fans flock to the downtown streets of Nashville for a couple weeks a year, which is also known as don't leave your house and try to go through downtown because it's a traffic nightmare.
Okay.
But a fun time is had by all.
What is your singing background? What is the type of music you like to sing?
I think it's changed a lot over the years. I was very, very big into pop and R&B when I was a lot younger. And then gradually I sort of started enjoying more country music just because of the sort of raw vulnerability that it offers. And I liked the fact that a lot of people wrote the songs that they were singing relative to the pop industry, where at that time anyway, a lot of people were writing songs written by other people. And I feel like you can invest yourself in a song if you've written it, because obviously it means something to you. And that spoke to me. And so I came back here. I think a lot of country music tells stories in a way that I felt pop music didn't for me. And so I came back here to try and tell stories. I've always been a storyteller in one capacity or another, whether it was through the characters I played or the books I'm writing or the songs I've written. And now I'm really more of a sing my children to sleep singer, songwriter. Yes, I write lullabies these days more than anything else. And that is mostly because I feel like when I'm really invested in writing something such as these books, it's really hard for me to put energy into writing something else. It's hard for me to write blogs while I'm writing a book or writing an album. It's just my brain sort of has to switch from one to the other to focus on it. And it's a little hard if that overlaps.
Give us a little background on the books here. What made you switch over what made you feel like you wanted to write these books? What put you in that mindset?
So when I was pregnant with my first daughter, who's now 4.5, People magazine actually approached me to see if I would be interested in writing a monthly blog for them on their babies portion of their people.com site. And I sort of thought that was a fun idea. And I wasn't doing anything else except sitting back and putting my feet up and eating. So why not? And so I started writing that, and it really gave me an outlet that I didn't have at that time to sort of share my pregnancy experiences with my peers and ask questions and find out that everybody else was going through the same thing I was. And then that segued into my own blog called The Cradle Chronicles, which I did for a while. I have not been the best at keeping that up lately, if we're being honest. But then my husband said to me one day, you should really turn these blogs into a book. And I was like, nobody wants to read 450 pages of me and my crap, and he goes, no, actually, I think you'd be surprised. It's pretty funny. And I'm like, yeah, well, says my husband. And then actually my manager came to me and said, no, actually, I think he's right. And I think we should try and pursue this. And we found a literary agent who used to watch Blossom and was a big fan and thought there was something to it and that maybe they were smarter than I was about the whole deal, and which is not surprising. And she found Medallion Press, and they jumped on board, and I was really thrilled that they were excited about it, and in the same way that I was. And not only were they excited enough to get the first book, but then they immediately came back and said, "Hey, how about we start on a sequel?"
Well, yeah.
No rest for the weary and toddler mothering woman.
So it's just like every time you get a book idea and you want to come out with a new one, you just figure, well, I need to prep, so I need to get pregnant again, have another kid, each book. So it's like each book goes with each kid.
Imagine? Actually, that would be highly counterproductive. I've actually written both of these books with the first book I wrote while pregnant with my first daughter, and then the second book I wrote while taking care of a 2-year-old and pregnant with my second. And I find that the more children I have, the harder it gets to actually sit down to any kind of peace and quiet whatsoever.
Oh, I have a 14-year-old daughter right now, but yeah, I'm with you.
Well,
yeah, it's rough.
And I'm sure it's a totally different kind of rough for you than it is for me right now.
Oh, yeah. The teenage years. I can't wait to see what your book looks like for that. So.
Dear God. The cover is just going to be like a black page.
Yeah.
We can expect that, right? We can expect a book for the teenage years, right?
I'm sure. I keep joking that eventually I'm sure I'll be writing Situation Momedy, but I'm sure there are some others in between there that I haven't come up with yet.
Well, your first book actually dealt with pregnancy in the first year of having a child. And I think we all as parents know that first child, frightening. You're not given a manual. You're given about 10,000 different pieces of advice. Then all of a sudden a child's placed into your hands with nothing to go on. Were you nervous like that very first time, you're handed your child, or did the maternal instincts just kick in and everything was fine?
Well, first of all, I had to have a C-section, so I was severely drugged up at the time. So what parts of it I remember. Listen, yes, of course. I think any parent who says that they weren't at all apprehensive is probably not being entirely honest with themselves. It was wonderfully terrifying is how I explain it, because it's of course the best thing I've ever done. I mean, I love my kids so much, but there are moments daily where I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Like, I just don't know what I'm doing here. And I'm growing with them. I'm learning things as they do. And I might know vocabulary words that they don't know, but I can promise you they're teaching me a lot of stuff too.
Well, I can promise you it doesn't get any better when they get older, because I have a 27-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 15-year-old. So, and I can assure you it doesn't get any better. As a matter of fact, to me, and Zach has a teenager too, but I can assure you, to me, I wish I could go back to the let's learn how to talk, let's learn how to walk, and the diapers. Those were the great days. I'm going to be honest with you. And maybe it's just me, but I can honestly tell you that the worst day is when you're handing the keys off for the very first time, and they're completely by themselves, not teaching them to drive, because that's a whole other story right there. But when they're actually by themselves for that first time, and maybe they're going to school or whatever. I remember telling my oldest son, I said, call me or text me the minute that you get there, and then he was like, Dad, come on, seriously? I'm like, yeah, really. Text me the minute that you get there. It's the worst. It's the worst feeling ever. So oh my God, I can't wait to hear what. Oh.
For me, if I had anything to tell somebody, I would just tell them, look, as the years progress, just enjoy it, because Christmas starts really cheap, because all the toys they want are just made of plastic, and it's the cheapest way. For $200, you could have an amazing Christmas. When they're in their teenage years, $200 gives you dirty looks, so, because the gifts get progressively more expensive. So
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, well, I'm just happy that right now, yes, my kids now they're talking, but like in their whole learning to talk and not being able to express themselves, I think, well, at least they're not slamming a door in my face, cussing me out and leaving the room and like jumping in my car and taking off, you know? I mean, there's definitely, I have so much to look forward to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's nothing like kids giving you their attitude and talking back. And
it's okay. I can talk back too. I'm very good at that.
You know, I love this. There was this quote from you that said, while you were preparing to give birth to your first daughter, you discovered a wealth of clinical guides to pregnancy and beyond. And basically what you hoped for was a best friend's guide, so to speak. What did you exactly mean by that as the best friend's guide? How was you, I mean, like, I know what you mean as far as to say, like, there was a lot of what to expect when you're expecting type things, but what did you mean as far as the best friend's guide?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I am the last person who should be giving any kind of clinical advice, nor would I want to. That would really be terrifying for me to be the person telling people how to parent, because I'm a work in progress. But I think, you know, I found so many guides that were sort of medically related, and that's great. I mean, those have their merit too. But I love the idea that I used to play the sort of quintessential best friend, and a lot of people thought of me that way and have grown up thinking of me as the best friend. And then I get to do it via book pages. I mean, I get to sort of be someone's honorary best friend via my book pages. And if I can do that, I've accomplished what I set out to do. You know, I wanted it to be a conversational book. When the literary agent first started pitching the book, there were a couple of publishing companies who came back and said, well, this reads more like a blog than a book. And I said, good, that's the point. Like, you know, you're missing the point if you think I want to put out a book that tells people, that guides people on how to parent their children. I can't do that. I'm not in a position to do that. What I can do is give them, you know, 300 pages of anecdotal funny and say, each phase offers its own tales of wonder and woe, and here are some of mine, and I hope this helps you along. And so it's the conversational part of it that I was really excited about. When I did end up finding Medallion Press and they were interested in it, I loved the fact that they loved the conversational aspect of the book, that they thought that it speaks to people on a level that's just really honest, and the way that we talk. I mean, as if you're sitting in a room with your best friend having a cup of coffee, or better yet, a glass of wine. You know, and that's really how we all meet each other on the same page, is to sit in front of each other and be intimate like that. And so to read a clinical guide is someone sort of offering options for what might or might not work for me, but in a way that makes me feel like I still don't have that close relationship with the author. And so I wanted to give people that. I wanted to say, you know what, if you don't have someone that you can confide in or learn from, or you're nervous about asking these questions, and you know, some people don't have a close relationship with their parents, or they don't have a best friend that they feel they can discuss this sort of thing with, or in general, they're just not very talkative, open people, you know, and this book sort of allows them to get some of that best friend advice without having to talk to someone in person.
That's true. And I got to be honest, there was this one thing. When we were kind of doing the prep for the show, I was watching this interview that you were doing, and I guess it was probably maybe a year or two back. And you were talking about the photo shoot that you did with King Magazine. Yeah. And you were saying how, you know, you loved it and you wouldn't take anything back from that photo shoot. You were super proud of it, but you weren't exactly sure how to handle it with your children. But you know what? It's so true, because as parents, I think we put a lot on ourselves. You know, I think we just think that we're supposed to be Superman or Superwoman, whatever, you know, but the fact is we did do things that probably we weren't, you know, is super proud of when we were younger. And then we have to sort of explain these things as we get older.
I mean, we all go through these phases in our lives where we make choices, right? We make choices that are right for us in that moment that don't necessarily, as an adult looking back, feel like maybe we should have made. I don't think I shouldn't have done the shoot for King Magazine or anything like that. I don't regret it for a second. Honest to God, like someday I'm going to be showing those photos to the men on the shuffleboard court being like, yo, look what I looked like. Look at my body in my 20s. I mean, I can tell you post 2 children, my body doesn't look like that now. So it's really hard to not look back at those photos and be like, no, you know what? I'm I'm proud of my body. I'm proud of myself as a woman. And, while I don't necessarily feel like I needed to wear skimpy lingerie to show that I'm proud of my body, perhaps I would choose differently if I were to be asked to do something like that now. I don't want to stand here and say that I'm not proud of that. I don't think that that's fair to the headspace that I was in at that time. And yeah, someday my daughters will ask me those questions, and I'm ready to answer those when they do, because I want them to know that was the right decision for me then. And that, and I wasn't naked in them, thankfully, so I don't have to explain away that.
Well, even still, even if they do walk out of the house with, and let's be honest, girls kind of have that, the apparel can be a little skimpy at times, the belly shirts and the yoga pants, whatever the world that they're wearing these days. But you know what? Just because you're wearing that doesn't make you anything less than, what people think of you. You can still be a lady and still wear, a crop top or
as long as
yoga.
You don't try to get on an airline, you're fine.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
No, I agree. I mean, look, obviously to a certain extent, although I would not consider myself a terribly conservative person, I do have very conservative values as a parent in some ways. But I also believe very much in my children's independence and the value of that.
Yes.
I want to raise daughters who are strong and brave and beautiful and smart and, not necessarily in that order, but I want them to look at themselves and feel confident about who they are and what they have to offer the world. And I also want to be able to trust the decisions that they make. Now, that's not to say I probably always will, because I'm human, and it sounds really good in theory. And the second my daughter rolls out in her mini skirt, I'm probably going to be like, no, go back and change, please. You're only 10. But I do hope that I can at least instill in them the fact that, like, I believe very strongly in being a strong, brave, beautiful, smart woman.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, tell us, just real quick, I got a question for you. So to get away from the whole image part, but what if one of them says, I want to try doing commercials or get into acting when they're, I don't know, 6, 7 years old? Is that something you would push them into, or at least encourage them to go for it?
Well, the pushing into part, absolutely not.
No.
I grew up with a lot of, I would say, in fact, the majority of children that I met in the industry growing up, and this goes back to the New York days when I first started auditioning for things when I was 6 years old until well into my teenage years. I met a lot of parents who had pushed their children into the industry, and I saw a variety of side effects from that were really unfair and unkind to these kids. I mean, they're just mentally, it wrecked them in a lot of ways. And so I don't ever believe in pushing kids into it. So that would certainly not be a factor. But you'd be amazed at how often I'm asked this question. And I essentially say the same thing every time, which is if my children were very passionate about getting into this industry, despite the fact that part of me would want to talk them out of it because I would never want them to feel like they were having to follow in my footsteps. And I know how brutal this industry can get. And I know about the rejection. And I've been through so much good and bad throughout my years in the industry that I would want to protect them from all of the bad stuff. But at the same time, I would never, the biggest portion of all of that is that I would want to support them. And if that's what they were passionate about, like, thank God for my parents who knew nothing about the industry, but knew how much I wanted it. And so they helped me pursue it despite their ignorance, because they wanted what was best for me. And what was best for me was what was in my heart. I mean, they didn't want to hold me back. They didn't want to stifle me. And I'm so appreciative of that. I'm eternally grateful, or I wouldn't have had the career I've had. And so I wouldn't want to do that to my children either. And it's funny. I was recently, when I was in LA doing my signings, I went to one of my best friend's weddings, and Kelly Williams, who used to be on Family Matters, was there, and she was looking at pictures. I was looking at pictures of her kids, and she was looking at pictures of mine, and she got to pictures of my youngest child, and she said, "Oh my God, now you know that Marlo has to be in the entertainment industry, right? Like you have to get her in the business." And I was like, "Oh God, please don't say that to me." And she goes, "No, you are holding back $1 billion industry, Jenna, and you know it," which I thought was a hilarious comment. And I was like, well, let's wait and see what she says. And, I'm not going to lie. My youngest definitely has that kind of personality, and I could totally see her doing it and loving it. But it's gonna have to be her choice.
Okay. On the cover of your recent book, Situation Momedy, a very special episode in Toddlerdom, I absolutely love the picture of your oldest daughter staring at you. That photo, I don't know how you got that, but it was amazing. It just looks like she has such a great personality.
They both do. Here's the greatest part about that cover. Nobody gave them direction. The photographer said to me, and the photographer is a very dear friend of mine, Brooke Bowling here in Nashville. And Brooke said to me before the shoot, what works for them in terms of like getting them to look up or getting, what works for them, what moves them that I can use if I need to. And so we had like a whole conversation about it. And the day of, they got on set and this is what they did. My younger daughter licking the toilet plunger, although I can promise you she didn't actually lick a toilet plunger. She came damn close, but thankfully did not get there. And it was clean. It was brand new. But both of them just, I don't know what kicked in, but they got on the set and they did what they did. And there were so many brilliant pictures that the publishing company had a hard time deciding which ones to use because there were just so many great ones. But yeah, that's all them. That's their personalities captured on film. They did that.
The ironic part, it's not really planned though, right? It's just them being them. So
right.
Well, and when the art director came to me about the book cover, initially they had sort of suggested, if this child could be throwing a tantrum, this child could be doing that, and I was like, well, there's really no legal way for me to make my kid throw a tantrum, so that's out. And above and beyond that, like I said, I think we need to sort of make the comedy me and the set, and then whatever they do is icing on the cake. And God, that is like the most colorful, amazing icing I've ever seen on a cake. They could not have, I'll say performed, but I'll use that word in quotes, but like they could not performed better. I didn't expect it. I didn't ask anything of them. I just said, hey, will you guys take some pictures with me? And they said, sure. And this is what we got.
There's a chapter in your new book called Potty Training. It's a crapshoot. I think that is the greatest.
I love
that
the
is
name.
the greatest. I know. Was that like what? I guess when you were doing your book, what was your favorite chapter to write? Did you have a favorite chapter? Was there one that just felt like it just rolled right off the fingertips when you were writing it?
I mean, definitely that one is up there. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that title was the first chapter title that came to me for the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, and it was automatic. I knew that's what it was going to be. It felt right. It's if anything can possibly feel right when discussing potty training.
Well, how long did it take? How long did it take you to potty train your kid?
Well, so the 2-year-old, we're still going through it. And she's just stubborn as all get out. And she's totally fine. She knows how to do it. She knows it's there. She knows when to go. She knows when she has to go. She just doesn't totally feel like doing it all the time. And that's fine. I'm not a big believer in forcing. I feel like, kids have their own time about certain things. And like, I don't think she's going to go to college in diapers. So I'm really not worried about it. And I think she knows that there's not a lot of pressure on her, which makes it easier for her to learn because she feels like she's the one making the decision, and that makes her more eager to learn it. So I'm sticking by that route because it worked for my older daughter who was uninterested in getting anywhere near the bathroom until she received these really awesome princess panties for Christmas. And she was like, oh, princess panties. Okay, well, yeah, no, I can wear these now. And I was like, well, let's just try them out. And never looked back.
Well, I just remember when my wife was potty training my daughter, before we started doing all that, she was telling me how it was a competition. It felt like all these parents were always saying, well, it took me this long, or it took me 3 days, or it took me 2 weeks. And then my wife said she doesn't want to worry about all that. But then it took her about a day and a half to potty train my daughter, and she was like right on it. Then my wife was the one telling her, well, it took me a day. It took me a day and a half. I was like, well, you're doing it now too.
And sometimes it's hard not to do stuff like that. Like and I actually talk about this in my book. Like, you don't want to be the mom that isn't playing nice in the sandbox, right? But it's but in part it's because you're so proud of your own kid, and that's what you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, so you don't, like, a lot of times when I say something about my children, I don't assume that the person I'm talking to thinks that I'm expecting them to compare what I'm telling them to their own child. Like, I don't know what their child is experiencing or going through, and so I hope that they don't think that I'm saying things to sort of brag about it, because that's not, we just, every child has their own timeline for things, whether it's walking, talking, stopping breastfeeding and weaning, or, potty training. It's like, there are so many different things. And, and you get into sort of the mommy war situation that the news talks about all the time, which kind of drives me, out of my mind. But at the same time, I get it, because we're putting so much pressure on ourselves, and in a way it's impossible not to put pressure on other people while we're doing it. And, and a lot of the pressure that, and I feel pressure as a mom. I am never going to stand here and tell you that I don't. I certainly do. Like, if my kid is pitching a fit in the middle of Target, don't think I'm not looking around at the other parent thinking, oh God, what do they think of me right now?
Of course.
So you don't do the old, we're going out to the van if you don't,
Right, exactly. But then I readjust my focus, and I'm like, oh yeah, wait, the first priority is like my kid, and why is she freaking out? Okay, well, she's freaking out because she's tired and hungry, and she needs a nap, and she needs some lunch, and probably not in that order. And like, the other parents of anybody who's staring at me right now has either gone through it themselves, or they should have to take care of a 2-year-old for a day, and then they can come talk to me about that stare.
Exactly.
Well, the ones that don't look are the ones that've been through it. So
of course. And I found it funny, us as parents, that we're almost made to feel guilty that when we say we need a break from our children, or, we're not very happy with them at this time. I mean, come on, I don't understand.
Not being happy with your kid doesn't mean you don't love them for that.
Exactly.
Like, that's ridiculous. We all need time to duck away, and whether it's hiding in a bathroom or a closet or whatever floats your boat, and like sneak some chocolate or a glass of wine or whatever you need to do. I mean, it's just, we all need a break. We need me time.
Absolutely. And I don't think there's any one way to raise a child. I think there's multiple ways, and it doesn't work the same. What works for you is not going to work for somebody else. And
Exactly.
So anyway, so we've taken up a lot of your time, but why don't you tell everybody how we can find you and your website, and of course your book?
Well, my website is jennavonoy.com, but I have to say I'm not the best at updating it. I'm somehow, in writing chapters of books and proofreading and book tours and all that good stuff, that is the thing that tends to fall by the wayside. But I can very easily be found on Twitter, and I'm at Jenna Von Oy, or I can be found on Instagram, where I am also at Jenna Von Oy. And my book is available at both Barnes & Noble and on Amazon. And I do still have tour dates left. So if people are on the East Coast and anywhere near New York City or Connecticut at the end of April, I am there.
So they get those tour dates on your website, or where you're going to be at?
So I've got those tour dates listed on, actually I'm on Facebook as well. I'm the official Jenna Von Oy page, and I've got them listed there. I also tweet about them in advance, but I'll be in New York. I'll be in Connecticut, signing in Danbury, Connecticut on the 23rd. That's right near my hometown. Mm-hmm. So it's always nice of the publishing company to let me go see everybody and sign there. And then I'll be on Long Island at Turn of the Corkscrew, which is the best name ever for a bookstore, on the 25th at 7 p.m. And then I will also be in Manhattan at the Barnes & Noble on Broadway and 82nd, and that's on the 27th at 7 p.m. And I'll be doing readings at all of those. So come get a dose of my snark.
And by the way, it's not going to matter we put this episode out and say like December of 2018, right? I mean,
no, of course not.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Affect book sales at all.
Yeah, so you go ahead and do those book dates, and then when somebody shows up and they're a year late.
That's good. That's totally fine. Then they can use all that back stock of those autographed copies that I left with them, and
or you're still sitting there, or right.
Yeah, we don't have an autographed copy yet. Come on, what's going on, Jenna?
Well, you don't get things you don't ask for, my friend.
That's true. Okay, fair enough. Hey, we've taken up so much of your time. Get out there, go check out Jenna's brand new book, Situation Momedy, a very special episode in Toddlerdom. You can check it out on our website. There's going to be a link to her sites, her Twitter, her Instagram, and most importantly, her book right now. Go out and check it. Jenna Von Oy, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you nothing but the greatest.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
So I tell you what, with celebrities coming out with books on parenting and everything, she is the first one I heard that seemed like she's got her act together. And I think what people get annoyed about is they feel like, well, how, what is a celebrity doing that makes them think that they know better than everybody else? And I think sometimes that rubs people the wrong way, but she wasn't coming
She
off
answered
like
that.
Yeah,
She answered it. She said, I don't know
exactly
anything more than the next person. As a matter of fact, what makes me the most qualified? And that's true. I mean, hey, what does her make the most qualified? And what makes me any more qualified than you or her or anyone else? And it's a guessing game because, the funny part is every child is different than the next. We all know that.
But if you look at her, if you look at her book cover and how she says, well, I definitely don't look like that now. She still looks great. I mean,
she looks fantastic.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, hey, she's married, guys. I mean, when I watch Blossom, and I know I watched Blossom a little bit, but
of course,
just a little bit. But anyway,
her character was so great.
She was the one I really watched it for. And,
of course,
not that I had any problem with any of the other characters, but she just, I don't know. She seemed very energetic in the show. And then, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really watch the Parkers. Wasn't my type of programming. I honestly didn't really, I think maybe I caught her on a couple episodes, but it was after the fact. So, but that's the way today's TV society is anyway. You catch shows kind of after the fact. So, but anyway,
exactly.
Cool interview. So,
yep. And don't forget, you can find Jenna on Twitter and Instagram at Jenna Von Oy and her website, jennavonoy.com. Although, as she told you, she's not very good at keeping it up to date. But again, we are going to have a link to her book on our website. Go to thestatementshow.com and you'll be able to click on her interview. You're going to see it right there. You can literally click right on that link, take you straight to Amazon and check it out because I can assure you it's a pretty good book. You're going to love it.
Do you think she goes to Britain, though, when they go, Oi? Do you think she turns around?
No, I don't.
Jenna Von Oy. Oi.
No.
I don't know. Sketch. I wonder what that name is. I should have asked her. I didn't even think about it. Jenna Von Oy. Von Oy. Sounds like she's, I don't know, what do you call those medieval sailors that conquered everybody? I'm trying to think what they called them. Vikings. It sounds Viking. Yeah, it sounds like a Viking.
Could be. Scandinavian. What is it? I don't know what Von Oy would be. If anybody out there in Twitter land knows what Von Oy is, give us a holler.
Oh, we'll tweet it out. How's that? We'll tweet it out. Von Oy. What you think Von Oy is, and get her to respond too there.
Right.
But anyway, we'll try to get this episode out. I'll try to get this episode out of time. But man, everybody needs to send an email into thestatementshow@gmail.com and bust Terry's butt here about not getting videos uploaded on YouTube. That's
not
all
true.
him.
Brian,
That's all him.
Brian Brushwood, I just put up today. Thank you very much.
Man, but his episode came out last week, and you bust my balls about getting the episodes done.
Okay. Hold on. We're gonna call a timeout right now. Okay. You're talking about YouTube. I'm talking about actually publishing the damn podcast.
Oh yeah.
Period. Editing the podcast. You're talking about putting it up on YouTube.
Actually,
now let's rewind it here. Hold on.
Well, then again, I guess you do need my podcast to be able to put it out on YouTube.
You think. So, and let me ask you this. Once you publish the podcast, how quickly is it up on our website?
All right, I'll give you that.
Right. Where it belongs on our website. Nobody's paying any attention to YouTube anyway.
It's like the Facebook where my daughter tells me all the old people are Facebook.
I know. I
don't go on Facebook
thing.
These days, Dad.
Yeah, like you can see Facebook going to the way of like MySpace.
Oh yeah, it's like all it is like a fancy free version of classmates.com. You remember you go to that website, they wanted you to pay through the nose.
God, yeah.
They wanted to pay you like $20, $30, $40, $50 for, and it was all full ads to find people you may have known, and or you're just trying to be like a stalker and look at the girl that you had a crush on. Not that I've ever done that, by the way, but it's like that's what the Facebook's turned into. So it's just like the free version of Classmates, and you can connect with a bunch of family and friends, and
right.
But you don't see a lot of kids on it. But
no, you don't. No, it's for your mom and dad and aunts and uncles.
Yeah,
but
like I said, my daughter's 14, and I know you have to be 13 to be on Facebook. And I said, hey, you want a Facebook account? She go, no.
No.
She's like, zero interest.
Give me Instagram, Dad. I don't care about it. I don't care about Facebook.
Exactly. We're on Instagram.
I don't even think one of my children have Facebook. Seriously, I don't think they have it.
No. I don't know, because you got LinkedIn, and I know that's more considered like a professional website, LinkedIn. But man, I tell you what, I sign on to it like once every 2 or 3 months. I don't think anybody goes on there on a regular basis on LinkedIn. No. It's like it's very cumbersome. It's like polluted, if you ask me. Like you get it, like it's my opinion about the web search engines and the browsers. Like when you go on Google, it's like a white page, and then there's a link to go to your email or all the other features like the news or the calendar. But the actual front page is clean, and I always thought that's what Yahoo did wrong, because when you went to their front page, it was busy and it was all over the place. You could barely find where to type in your search.
Right.
With Google, you go, there's Google and there's the bar. You just type what you want. It's right. It's clear and it's uncumbersome. It's just there, and it's like a clean. I think that's one of the successes of Google, is the fact that it's not very busy and you can go where you want without being pushed there. So that's what I like about it. But I did want to touch on something else, and I know we're getting near the end of the show here, but I wanted to touch on the guest we had last week with Brian Brushwood. And man, I've been watching his show, The Modern Rogue, on YouTube, themodernrogue.com, if anybody's interested. Man, that show kicks ass. I'm going to tell you what, Brian Brushwood, he's the Moab. If anybody knows.
And by the way, Zach, Scam School's still going, because you remember you asked him last week and he told you that it was still going when you thought it wasn't going.
Yeah,
so.
I know, man, because I was sitting there holding my breath, because he said Brian Brush, he was acting like the show was off the air and shit, and Brian was like, whoa. I'm like, oh man, you pissed Brian Brushwood off. So he's gonna fake your death and shit. So yeah, you pissed Brian Brushwood off.
No.
But I'm gonna tell you what.
I love that guy.
Yeah, it's like all the guests we have on. It's just Jenna Von Oy. I mean, look at the book, the acting, and she's got 2 kids, and she's killing a book tour right now.
Right.
And it makes you feel like, well, what am I doing? So anybody out there says they don't have time or they're too tired, and man, ain't nobody out there pushing her through along all this stuff. She's motivated, getting off her butt and doing this stuff herself. And look what she's accomplishing. Just like, dude, Kurt Angle and Brian Brushwood and all the past people we've had on our show. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. So
I went out today, Zach, and I mowed the grass and washed one car, and my feet hurt right now. My feet hurt.
I drive for an hour, and I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm done. I got to come and take a nap. I feel so, I don't know. I just don't know how, like, they're out there. I just listen to Brian Brushwood talking about all this stuff he was doing in one day, and I'm like, I drove home and I needed a nap.
I know, right? Dude's like, yeah, I was eating fire and sticking shit in my eyeballs, and
oh, well, he tweeted that he drove a bicycle 8 miles to the grocery store, and now he's on his way back. That. I was like, oh my God, I need to take a nap just reading that shit. And so
I don't drive 8 miles to the grocery store. There's no way I'm biking it. Absolutely not. Forget it. I'm not biking anywhere.
Oh man, I'm going to tell you what, go see some of our past shows at our website at thestatementshow.com. But man, this was a great episode. I loved it. And I really want to say thanks again to Jenna Von Oy. She was cool. And that book, there's no way I'm going to pronounce that title, but you got it worked out. Go for it.
I got you. Situation Momedy, a very special episode in, get ready for it, Toddlerdom. See, I said it correctly. Toddlerdom.
But anyway, Jenna Von Oy.
Please ignore Zach. I don't know what Zach is talking about at this point. But anyway, go to thestatementshow.com. Check out Jenna's interview. You will actually see. Well,
actually, if you're listening to this, I've already checked it out.
But you know what? The link to the book is right there, so you'll see it.
Yeah, exactly. And check out our past episodes: Brian Brushwood, Kurt Angle, Tony Todd. Don't forget about Tony Todd. Oh man. So anyway, support the show and click on our affiliate link for bookit.com or audible.com and get a free book. And they have 180,000 titles to pick from. Audible.com. So you can do Audible. What is it? Audible.com/the statement. Oh, I'm sorry. I take that back. It's audibletrial.com/the statement. Or it's easier to go to thestatementshow.com. Click on our link on the affiliate link and click there and get your free book. I get my token here soon. So it's a few dollars a month. It's not as much as you would think. link, and I get my free token soon. I've already gotten my free book, and I already got my next book picked out. So I'm just waiting for my next token to come up. But anyway, that was great. I had a great time. And
Me too. Yep.
Anyway, I guess that's a wrap on another episode. So the lights are out on another episode of The Statement Show.
See ya. She's a pro.
Yes,
she is a pro. You are a pro, girl.
Well, only on Mondays and Fridays. Eventually, I'm sure I'll be writing a Situation Momedy, but I'm sure there are some others in between there that I haven't come up with yet.
We're from the D.C. area, so that would never, ever happen.
No.
Now, if they knocked on your window, you want to hit the gas and drive.
Exactly.
And still wear, a crop top or
as long as you don't try to get on an airline, you're fine.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Like I was going Ron Burgundy, unique New York. Unique.
Well, that's a wrap on another episode of The Statement Show. Thanks again to Jenna Von Oy. Go to our website at thestatementshow.com. Give a listen to all the past episodes. Go to iTunes and subscribe and tell us what you think of the show. And most importantly, the lights are out.